So it's Thursday, September the 13th. Tomorrow, Friday, will mark 3 weeks since the surgery. Last video, I believe, was the end of the first week. So the second week was pretty much just a gradual improvement from that. Getting more comfortable, weight bearing, and trying to build up strength. Wednesdays, it seemed to kind of pick up a little bit just because my quad had reached the point where I could a lot better control my knee. So I think it was Wednesday I ditched my crutches and haven't used them since. The big thing that surprised me about all of this, I think I've mentioned, is just how much strength I lost from my quad. And I think a lot of it, the PTs said it had to do with the swelling and fluid in the muscle. It just doesn't want to activate when you tell it to. So anyways, by Wednesday, it had reached enough strength where I was comfortable with the brace on, not using crutches. And by Wednesday, I was walking with crutches. I was probably doing half a mile, 3/4 of a mile. I'll go for a walk and around the neighborhood. And just continued on throughout that. I did have a little bit of a surface infection around the incisions, and so the doc put me on some, I think it was Cephalax, some antibiotic. And then I noticed a little bit of an upset stomach. I assumed it was the antibiotic, but I stopped taking NSAIDs for a couple days that weekend, just to give my stomach a break from that. It wasn't too much worse without them, and then yesterday I started taking them again, and I can tell it helps a little bit, but the swelling's really manageable at this point. The pain's pretty manageable at this point. The sleeping's still kind of uncomfortable. I usually wake up in the middle of the night and it's just kind of achy and throbby. A lot of times I'll get up in the middle of the night and ice it, but it's not too bad. It's pretty manageable. And now I'm up to walking with the brace, without crutches, about a mile around the neighborhood. And I'm getting pretty comfortable on it. Turn you around and show you how it's healing up. So you can see there is some swelling, but it's pretty manageable. You can see I had a little bit of an infection here. It's getting cleared up, and the main scar's looking pretty good, and I can actually activate my quadriceps, which is awesome, because before that first week you would tell the muscle to contract and just nothing would happen hardly. And so I can lift, do my leg lifts no problem. There's a little soreness and tenderness. Yesterday in PT, my flexion, I went to 130 degrees. It really feels like everything is just binding inside the knee, and they said that that's normal, and that's been pretty much from day one of the surgery. You reach the point where you don't want to bend anymore, and everything just feels like it's binding, and the front feels really tight. The other thing is the skin on your kneecap, on my good knee, rolls around. There's no real attachment anywhere. Here you can tell that underneath the incisions, pretty much all the incision points, like right there, you can see here's an incision point right here, and I push, and you can tell it's connected. So basically all that scar tissue is connecting the skin to the underlying layers. And I talked to the doc and the PT, and they both said that that's normal, and gave me some massage techniques to help break that up. The doc and the PT were both fine with my progress so far. Here you can see, I'm full weight bearing. I'm definitely, it's definitely weaker, but I'm comfortable on it standing and weight bearing and walking around and standing on one foot. Prior to that Wednesday, if I was to stand like this without a brace or any support, it wouldn't be comfortable and I wouldn't trust it. And there was a few times where it just kind of slides out from under me just because I didn't have the strength. So that's pretty much how it's been going. So the second week, and now we're coming up on the end of the third week. The doc said he might have me on a treadmill running as early as 8 weeks. Everything else I looked into, that looked a little on the early side. Maybe he just had in mind getting ready and getting into, you know, some very light treadmill running. Everything else in my PT seemed to converge on closer to 12 weeks. So we'll see how it goes. Doc said go ahead and take a break from PT, actually going to appointments, and the PT agreed. That's not to say I won't be doing PT at home, but as far as the need to go into a PT, just not really necessary. I'm going to go back in 3 weeks and then pick up PT, and we'll see how it goes from there. And I'll make another video on how that progress goes, and I'll talk to you guys then.
So as far as pain and activity level, so for the second week, I did spend a lot of time lounging around and icing. I did do a little bit of desk work. If I had to return to desk work full time, it would have been doable, not ideal. Returning to anything more than desk work would have probably been pushing it. I have been watching my 1-year-old and 3-year-old. That hasn't been an issue. The third week, some more improvement. Little bit of pain and aching still. Sleeping isn't quite comfortable. Usually I'll wake up in the middle of the night. Sometimes I'll ice in the middle of the night just because it feels kind of achy, and helps me get back to sleep. Yesterday I did do some yard work. That went okay. I did prune some trees, prune some bushes, raked up the leaves. It wasn't too bad. Oh, and the other thing is keeping it wrapped. So pretty much until now I've kept it wrapped anytime I'm vertical, which has really helped. This last weekend I was playing outside with my son, playing cornhole, and I didn't have it wrapped. I thought I'd see how it went, and after about 20 minutes of just kind of standing and walking outside, it really just started feeling achy from the swelling. So then I, continued to wrap it, and then just yesterday when I was doing yard work, I didn't wrap it. I did take an NSAID, and it did a lot better. So I pretty much went all day yesterday without it being wrapped, and it went okay. So for me, first 3 weeks about wrapping really helped, and I'm sure it'll help a little bit now, but it's kind of to the point where the swelling's gone down a lot. So.
Mm-hmm.
Daddy.
Yeah.